got fined for giving cookies to voters, cited for sipping kombucha at a train stop, arrested for drawing chalk hearts on your driveway. Sound insane? Welcome to America, where following the rules doesn't always keep you safe from the law. Here's 101 times people got busted for doing things that are completely, absolutely legal. 1. In Madison, Wisconsin, 11-year-old Chloe's lemonade pop-up lasted 9 minutes before a health inspector, flanked by a patrol car, issued an arrest citation for unlicensed beverage retail. Her haul of $4.25 was logged into evidence. The scandalous lemons were safely disposed of at the station. 2. Orlando's church youth group handed out granola bars to homeless veterans until park rangers swooped in with zip ties. The charge? Unauthorized food distribution in a public green space. The confiscated snacks reportedly enjoyed quiet retirement inside the ranger break room vending machine. 3. Phoenix homeowner. Miguel set out buckets to capture rare desert rain so he could water succulents. County officers declared he was diverting state property, wrote him a misdemeanor, and booked him overnight. The collected rain evaporated, technically escaping custody first. 4. A Richmond bride twirled with her groom on the steps of Virginia's Capitol for photos. Capitol Police cited the pair for unpermitted demonstration and detained the photographer for facilitating. Wedding album caption, Arrested Development, Our First Dance Made the Blotter. 5. Detroit gardener. Yolanda swapped her front lawn for kale and cherry tomatoes. City code called it unauthorized ornamental crop, so officers served a warrant and escorted her downtown. Jail cafeteria salad that night tasted suspiciously fresh. 6. Denver accountant Blake sipped kombucha from a brown bottle on a light rail platform. Transit police breath tested him, found a perfect 0.00, yet still cited him for open container resembling alcohol. Blake now jokes his biggest vice is aesthetics. 7. In Baton Rouge, 2 teens rescued a duckling from a storm drain. Wildlife agents confiscated the bird and charged the duo with possession of migratory species without a permit. Court order: mandatory release of the duck plus 10 hours watching educational waterfowl videos. 8. Seattle resident Priya chalked uplifting quotes on her own driveway. A neighbor complained, police photographed the pastel evidence, and issued a citation. Rain erased the crime scene before the paperwork cleared the printer. Yet Priya still owes $175 to the ever-damp city. 9. In Naples, Florida, grandmother offered homemade cookies to voters in line. Deputies cited her for electioneering with baked goods and detained her for fingerprinting. The snickerdoodles were stored in an evidence locker. Justice has never smelled so cinnamon-forward. 10. Lincoln, Nebraska, Dad Pete taught his 7-year-old to ride a bike in an empty school parking lot after hours. A passing officer charged him with trespass on educational property and processed him at precinct. The school's marquee ironically read, "Community learning never stops." 11. Oakland artist Leo rescued a stunned seagull on the beach, wrapped it in a towel, and drove to rehab. Highway Patrol ticketed him for transporting wildlife without authorization. The bird refused court appearance, pleading pure flight risk. 12. Newark commuter Maya belted the national anthem while waiting for a late train. Transit police labeled the a cappella performance unauthorized amplification, despite zero microphone, and arrested her for disturbing the peace. Somewhere, Francis Scott Key facepalmed in patriotic frustration. 13. Portland activist Sam installed a free fridge full of books and pantry staples on his lawn. Zoning inspectors, escorted by police, seized the fridge and charged Sam with operating an unlicensed retail kiosk. Apparently, generosity now needs a business license and a good lawyer. 14. Atlanta jogger Chris paused mid-run to gulp from a public park fountain. Rangers cited him for theft of city utilities. Water. The fine cost more than his entire monthly utility bill. Hydration, it seems, is a premium service. 15. Corpus Christi. Moms Amber and Joy breastfed poolside while supervising toddlers. A security guard summoned police for public indecency. Texas law protects nursing mothers, yet officers still filed disorderly conduct reports. making the paperwork the only thing truly exposed. 16. Milwaukee teen Ethan wore saggy basketball shorts downtown. Local ordinance police deemed it indecent display of underwear and detained him an hour while measuring waistband angles. Ethan now calls it the priciest fashion critique of his life. 17. Boise beekeeper. Emma relocated a backyard swarm for a neighbor. Anxious residents dialed 911 about a suspicious buzzing box. Responding officers arrested Emma for moving hazardous insects without a special permit. The bees, unbothered, continued their unauthorized flight operations. 18. Montgomery resident Marcus fed expired parking meters with rolls of pennies to help strangers avoid tickets. An officer cited him for obstructing revenue flow and hauled him in. Irony alert, Marcus ended up owing the city more in fines than the meters would have collected. 19. Chicago tourist. Liz filmed police activity from a sidewalk at legal distance. Officers seized her phone, shouted interference, and booked her. Illinois' eavesdropping law was later ruled unconstitutional, but Liz's souvenir became a mugshot, not a skyline selfie. 20. In Bangor, Maine, librarian Carla forgot to return an interlibrary-loaned cookbook for 10 months. A patrol officer, dispatched after 3 warning letters, served a warrant at her circulation desk and escorted her to booking. Title of the offending tome: The Joy of Freezing Vegetables. 21. Forgetting his headphones, Nashville commuter Ray softly whistled "Sweet Caroline" on a city bus. A transit marshal cited him for unlicensed performance, then detained him after a passenger complained the tune was emotionally coercive. Ray now whistles lawyer jingles, apparently fair use. 22. A Santa Fe retiree placed a tiny take-a-plant, leave-a-plant shelf on her porch. Zoning officers called it an unregulated nursery, impounded the succulents, and arrested her for selling flora without a license. Her cactus spent the night in evidence holding, with no water. 23. During Wyoming's total eclipse, science teacher Mr. Jacobs projected the sun onto a school wall for students. A park ranger on eclipse duty threatened site safety violations, filed a report for unauthorized optical device, and police escorted Jacobs away, ironically blocking kids' only safe view. 24. Atlanta's Free Little Pantry volunteer Erin refilled a sidewalk cabinet with baby formula. A passing health inspector flagged the powdered milk as hazardous donation, and officers issued her a custodial citation. The pantry remained empty. The city suggested approved hunger solutions 2 bus rides away. 25. At a Philadelphia Eagles tailgate, Vince brought a parabolic grill that runs on concentrated mirrors. Fire marshals deemed sunlight an open flame, declared the parking lot a burn zone, and marched him off. Tailgaters downgraded to cold cheesesteaks and warm disappointment. 26. Gulf Coast surfer Danny collected washed-up driftwood to carve art. A coastal warden charged her with removal of natural storm barriers and summoned deputies. While she signed booking papers, an excavator cleared the same beach for condos, perfectly permitted. 27. Quincy, Massachusetts, bans fortune-telling without a permit. When college student Mira read tarot for friends at a cafe, undercover bylaws officers appeared, accused her of unlawful divination, and wrote an arrest summons. The cards did warn of unexpected authority figures. Nailed it. 28. Las Vegas resident Colin installed solar panels shaped like giant playing cards. Code enforcement called them unauthorized signage. Police issued a disorderly property citation and hauled him in. Casino billboards 2 blocks away flashed neon approval into the night. 29. In Kansas farm country, 87-year-old Earl repainted his barn bright purple for his granddaughter's wedding. A county official labeled it visual pollution, dispatched deputies, and charged Earl with nuisance color usage. The barn stayed purple, Earl's mood even purpler. 30. Chicago marathoner Leah briefly jogged on Lakeshore Drive's closed shoulder because the sidewalk was iced. State troopers stopped traffic, cuffed her, and booked her for improper pedestrian on controlled highway. Her average mile time sank, thanks to a station house split. 31. Miami barber. Julio handed out free haircuts to foster kids in a park gazebo. Code compliance arrived, seized his clippers as unregulated medical device, and police cited him. The kids left half-faded. The city suggested they visit a licensed salon if they could pay. 32. Outside a Denver courthouse, paralegal Jess Chalk outlined potholes to warn pedestrians. A sheriff's deputy claimed the markings mimicked crime scene graffiti, arrested her for public alarm, and ticketed her bucket of chalk as potential evidence. The potholes remained, un-yellow-taped. 33. Phoenix hobbyist Arjun flew a paper airplane that glided over a police substation fence. Officers flagged it as aerial intrusion, scanned it for contraband, and booked Arjun for unregistered aircraft. The plane's cargo? A doodle of a smiley face wearing aviators. 34. In rural Maine, librarian Dora hosted an outdoor silent reading hour. A deputy patrolling noise complaints cited her for unauthorized gathering, ironically the quietest event of his shift, then detained her for not having a parade permit. Books, 50. Decibels, 0. 35. Baton Rouge. Baker Simone gifted leftover cupcakes to passing cyclists after closing. Health officials considered the giveaway off-premise sale, and police issued an arrest citation. The cyclists pedaled away frosting-faced. Simone rode in the back seat, cupcakeless. 36. Portland's bike lanes got festive when artist Leo painted discreet rainbow stripes for Pride Week. City crews scrubbed them at dawn, and officers cited Leo for alteration of traffic control devices, escorting him to a holding cell still smelling of latex paint and good intentions. 37. Houston apartment dwellers organized a rooftop stargazing night with 2 amateur telescopes. Security guards feared laser pointer hazards, called HPD, and officers cited the group for improper rooftop assembly. Clouds rolled in anyway. Celestial contempt of court. 38. Minneapolis dad Omar set up a portable sauna tent on frozen Lake Nokomis. Park police deemed it an unregistered winter structure, fined him, and dragged the sauna ashore as evidence. Omar's therapeutic steam became a literal cold case. 39. Virginia Beach. Surfer Brooke attached a buoyant cooler to her board, carrying water and reef-safe sunscreen. Marine Patrol labeled it an unauthorized vessel, towed her ashore, and booked her for unlicensed boating. The cooler never passed its float test sobriety check. 40. Salem, Oregon, forbids feeding wildlife downtown. When musician Kenny strummed guitar while ravens landed near his granola bar, an officer ticketed him for indirect provisioning, then detained him for arguing that ravens invited themselves. Kenny swears they tipped in shiny pennies. 41. A Boise co-op scheduled a seed swap. State agriculture reps crashed the event, confiscated heirloom packets for lack of phytosanitary papers, and police cited the organizers. The seeds spent spring germinating inside evidence lockers. 42. Brooklyn filmmaker Dana took still photos of subway art on her phone for a class project. Transit cops claimed commercial intent, seized the phone, and arrested her for unpaid location permit. Dana ultimately paid more in MetroCard swipes retrieving her property than the fine itself. 43. In Tulsa, skater Max waxed a public ledge. Park police cited him for application of foreign lubricant, handcuffed him, and logged the bar of wax into evidence. The ledge remained ungrindable and suspiciously sticky after officers forgot to wipe it. 44. New Hampshire hiker Elise picked a single wildflower for pressing. A forest ranger emerged like a botanical ninja, cited her for removal of state flora, and summoned deputies. The pressed evidence later appeared wilted, crime of natural causes. 45. Austin's honor system produced stand-rented chalkboard spaces to list prices. When graduate student Pilar wrote free under extra zucchini, police were called for tampering with posted rates. Pilar left in cuffs. The zucchini stayed, tragically unsold. 46. In Cleveland, drummer Zach practiced with rubber pads at noon in his garage. A noise meter officer declared the rhythmic thuds industrial disturbance, issued a 90-day restraining order from his own drumsticks and escorted him downtown, where holding cells echoed worse beats. 47. Reno snowshoer. Marcy stomped a heart shape into fresh powder on federal land. Rangers accused her of unauthorized landscape alteration, radioed deputies, and filed an arrest report. The heart melted before court. Case dismissed for lack of corpus delicti. 48. Anchorage teacher Carl set up a camera trap to photograph northern lights. Airport security detected the skyward lens, suspected drone activity, and local police detained Carl for unregistered surveillance equipment. The Aurora danced invisibly while Carl answered routine questions indoors. 49. A Charleston tour guide added Hamilton-style rap verses to his historical spiel. City regulators, citing a colonial-era no busking ordinance, arrested him mid-flow for unauthorized performance. Tourists captured the bust on video, arguably the day's best history lesson. 50. Scottsdale HOA requires uniform mailboxes. Resident Faith bedazzled hers pink for breast cancer awareness. The board called sheriffs, who issued a misdemeanor for unapproved structural embellishment. Faith's rhinestones held fast, even under fingerprint dusting. 51. Detroit activist Marcus set up a free phone charging station using a bike generator. Electrification inspectors labeled it illegal utility resale, and officers wheeled Marcus and the bike away. Riders who needed juice were told to peddle their grievances elsewhere. 52. Louisville family released biodegradable sky lanterns at a memorial. Fire officials tracked the lantern GPS tags, cited the group for airborne ignition sources, and detained Grandpa, who'd insisted on reading safety instructions twice. Should have skipped step 3, he sighed. 53. During a Rhode Island snow emergency, Chef Lila shoveled a neighbor's sidewalk out of courtesy. A passing officer issued a summons for unauthorized snow removal, only registered contractors allowed. Lila's shovel was impounded like a low-horsepower getaway car. 54. Seattle coder. Ben tethered his laptop to a park light pole outlet. City workers accused him of theft of municipal electricity, called SPD, and Ben rode to booking clutching a 3-meter extension cord as incriminating evidence. Battery, still 12%. 55. At a New Jersey rest stop, twins Paige and Parker organized a flash mob kazoo tribute to Springsteen. State troopers dispersed the 90-second harmony, citing motorist distraction, and arrested the pair for unlicensed musical assembly. Born to run? Not this time. 56. Rapid City. Resident Nora rehung an American flag upside down as a distress statement about potholes. Police cited her for defacement of civic emblem, then arrested her when she declined to flip it back. The potholes remained right side up. 57. Fresno beekeeper/bartender. Tino infused honey into craft mead at home, gifting bottles to neighbors. Alcohol control agents raided the block party, arrested him for unlicensed distribution, and poured 12 jars of honeyed evidence. Flies rejoiced, neighbors cried. 58. Spokane College pranksters started a low-stakes free library of funny bumper stickers on parking meters. City code enforcers labeled each sticker defacement of regulatory surface, and campus police ticketed and arrested the trio. The jokes stuck around longer than their records. 59. Madison Yogi. Sheila organized sunrise meditation on the Capitol lawn. A security team insisted protests require permits, and police wrote disorderly assembly citations. Sheila's chant of Om morphed into "Oh no, ma'am, please," as cuffs clicked. 60. Pensacola fisherman. Daryl released undersized redfish unharmed, posting proof on TikTok. Wildlife officers accused him of evidence tampering, catch and release prevented measurement, and arrested him dockside. The redfish presumably ignored their subpoenas. 61. In Bakersfield, pop-up choir members sang Christmas carols door-to-door without a solicitation permit. A neighbor called law enforcement, who booked the entire soprano section for commercial sound without license. Falala logged into holding cells till midnight. 62. Denver's free little art box let strangers swap tiny canvases. One painting included a 1-cent stamped collage. Postal inspectors labeled it counterfeit postage, called police, and arrested the curator. Art imitating crime, apparently too well. 63. Oklahoma rancher. Wes fixed a pothole on a county road with spare gravel. The county road crew cited him for unlawful public works impersonation, and deputies hauled him in. The patched pothole was promptly reopened for budgetary consistency. 64. Manhattan dog walker. Mel strapped biodegradable bags to a lamppost for public use. Sanitation officers deemed it an unauthorized dispenser, slapped her with a sanitation interference violation, and police issued an arrest citation. The bags ended up in a city trash can, unused. 65. Orlando Brewery hosted a Bring Your Own Vinyl night. When patrons spun personal records, state licensing claimed the event constituted an unlicensed DJ service, fined the owner, and briefly detained him for resisting playlist paperwork. 66. Pittsburgh sculptor Alex carved a 6-foot snow dinosaur outside his row house. City code named it a potential obstructive structure. Officers documented crash test photos, issued a nuisance citation, and arrested Alex when he tried to give the T-Rex mittens. 67. Hartford bicyclist. Dana installed a basket of free bike bells on a trail. State rangers said it violated exclusive concession rights, confiscated the bells, and issued her a misdemeanor summons. Trail safety got noticeably quieter and riskier. 68. Sacramento's No Sidewalk Sale ordinance backfired when retiree Bill hosted a free pumpkin carving day for kids. Code officers recorded the smiling jack-o'-lanterns as contraband produce, arrested Bill, and stored pumpkins in climate-controlled lockers, scarier than any carving. 69. Memphis blues guitarist Riley riffed outside Sun Studios' exterior wall to admiring tourists. A plainclothes officer cited intellectual property ambiance, ordered him to cease, and booked him. The blues tradition lived on, inside a holding cell. 70. Flagstaff astronomer Nina used a green laser to point constellations during a camping talk. Forest Patrol misread it as wildlife harassment, confiscated her pointer, and detained her. Campers stared at unnamed stars, now officially witness protection constellations. 71. Boise Diener. Hank welcomed overheated stray dogs with bowls of ice water on his patio. Health inspectors cited him for non-certified animal refreshment. Police issued a warning, and Hank spent the afternoon explaining to cellmates why hydration is controversial. 72. Wichita seniors played penny poker in a community center lounge. Undercover gaming control logged 37 cents in pot money, called local police, and cited the octogenarians for unlicensed gambling. Confiscated 5 rolls of mints, 2 decks, and all street cred. 73. Savannah Ghost Tour Guide. D used an EMF reader prop. A city technician insisted the device violated radio frequency ordinances, and officers arrested D for unauthorized paranormal equipment. Spirits remained unsummoned. Bureaucracy very much alive. 74. Los Angeles fashion student Ava hosted a curbside swap rack of thrift clothes. LAPD, partnering with sanitation, ticketed her for illegal street vending and detained her. The rack disappeared into city storage. Style apparently costs bail. 75. Helena. Montana's law bars loose livestock in town. When homesteader Jeanette led 2 goats in Santa hats for a holiday photo, police cited her for festive livestock parade without permit, then booked her. The goats left hoof prints on the cruiser seat. Unrepentant. 76. Cincinnati teen. Troy offered free squeegee wipes at a gas station to raise charity tips. Officers cited him for unauthorized windshield service, confiscated the bucket, and filed a juvenile arrest. Customers now drive with bug-splattered solidarity. 77. Albuquerque baker. Ramon drafted a sidewalk hopscotch to entertain kids waiting in line. City risk management flagged it as trip hazard, police issued a citation, and Ramon rode downtown chalk-dusted. The hops? Scrubbed by risk-averse rain. 78. Waikiki snorkeler. Kim gathered plastic trash mid-swim. Lifeguards mistook the mesh bag for coral, radioed Marine Patrol, and Kim was cited for unsanctioned reef removal. The actual coral politely requested she keep cleaning anyway. 79. Newark commuters organized a reading party on a quiet car train, silently holding up favorite novels. A conductor claimed group activity violates anti-solicitation policies. Transit police met the train, cited leaders, and confiscated 3 copies of Moby Dick as exhibits. 80. Tallahassee activist Josh chalked outlines of local potholes, tagging each with hashtags directing City Hall. Police labeled it political graffiti, detained him, and power washed the tags, leaving perfect outlines of the still gaping holes. 81. Omaha Grandma Lila entered her own peach jam into a county fair without paying the $2 late fee. Sheriff's deputies served a bench warrant on judging day, escorting her past the pie table. Her jam took first place, displayed beside a "Do Not Sample" notice. 82. Pasadena joggers organized a plogging cleanup, picking litter while running. City code enforcement deemed collected trash unlicensed haul, summoned police, and cited the group. The garbage truck showing up later got celebrated as the only athlete with paperwork. 83. Knoxville dad. Reese flew a homemade box kite at dusk. An FAA spotter mistook the silhouette for a drone. Police seized the string and cited Reese for unregistered aircraft. The wind testified it merely provided lift, not legal counsel. 84. Kansas City chef Dawn fermented kimchi in her apartment, gifting jars to neighbors. Health department demanded a cannery license, seized jars, and levied an arrest citation. The stairwell, however, retained that unmistakable spicy tang, evidence on the nose. 85. Providence College Eco Club chalked arrows on campus pointing to recycling bins. Campus security tagged it vandalism, had local police issue citations, and briefly held the president. The arrows washed away. The litter remained directionless. 86. Daytona beach surfer. Nate repaired a broken board on the sand using epoxy. Lifeguards claimed chemical hazard, issued a misdemeanor, and detained him. The half-mended board now hangs in Nate's living room, a resin gloss shrine to bureaucratic tides. 87. Minneapolis Farmers Market requires produce grown within 30 miles. Vendor Elise brought apples from her aunt's orchard 32 miles out. Inspectors flagged her stall fraudulent origin. Deputies removed her bushels, and Elise spent Saturday counting seeds in holding. 88. Boulder meditation guru Raj rang a handheld bell during a dawn hillside session. Wildlife officers ticketed him for disturbing elk calving season and arrested him when he tried to silence the bell with his sleeve. The elk merely blinked. 89. Boston cyclist Nora installed a battery-free Pac-Man-style reflector maze on her spokes. Traffic officers accused her of unauthorized lighting device, confiscated the wheel, and cited her. Her commute became a literal drag, unicycle distance at best. 90. Cheyenne librarian Ted used a mobile hotspot to stream a public domain western on an outdoor screen. A park ranger misread the copyright notice, called police, and cited Ted for illicit broadcast. The Tumbleweed Extras didn't even unionize. 91. St. Louis mom Carrie organized a stroller derby charity race on a closed mall lot. Mall security cried liability. SPD issued unlawful vehicular event citations and arrested Carrie. Toddlers finished first, confused but undefeated. 92. Biloxi fisherman. Claire used shrimp shells to fertilize her garden. A sanitation inspector flagged raw seafood waste, summoned police, and Claire paid a fine bigger than her shrimping profits. Plants, thriving, wallet, withered. 93. Des Moines painter. Owen sprayed a mural on his own garage after securing neighbor approval. A historic district rep objected to non-heritage color schemes, called police, and booked him for facade alteration. The beige barn next door received commendation for patriotic dullness. 94. Newark teacher Gina made beginner flashcards featuring U.S. currency images. Secret Service agents, alerted by copier sales data, inspected her class set and police issued a citation for replication of legal tender. The monopoly money on desk remained suspiciously unmonitored. 95. Orlando retiree. Carlos organized a neighborhood porch concert using Bluetooth speakers. Code officers said amplified sound requires a 3-page permit, and sheriffs detained him mid-Sweet Home Alabama guitar riff, adding irony to injury. 96. Phoenix Dog Park. Regular Mel built a free mini agility ramp. Park staff saw liability risk, called police, and cited him for unlicensed recreational equipment. Dogs sniffed the ramp, confused by tape that read, "Police do not fetch." 97. Boise high schoolers staged a reverse car wash, drying vehicles with towels for charity donations. Parking enforcement claimed squeegee ordinances, issued arrests for unlicensed cleaning, and confiscated 200 microfiber cloths, now city-owned lint collectors. 98. Seattle climber Zoe installed a slack line between 2 backyard furs. A neighbor reported dangerous aerial act. City compliance found no fall arrest system, and police cited Zoe. The slack line drooped to the ground, symbolizing civic flexibility. None. 99. Tampa retiree. Glenn brewed solar tea in gallon jars on his driveway. Health department labeled sun brewing uncontrolled pasteurization, and deputies fetched Glenn for food safety questioning. The tea steeped into legend while Glenn stewed. 100. Rochester illustrator Mia sketched courthouse columns from the public sidewalk. A deputy claimed security sensitivity, seized her pad, and cited her for unauthorized architectural recording. Her loose-leaf doodle now resides in an evidence locker, awaiting its day in court. 101. At Yellowstone, hiker Phil tested a handheld thermometer over a hot spring, without touching water. Rangers called it proximate sampling, radioed federal officers, and Phil exited the park in cuffs. The thermometer read 202 degrees Fahrenheit, just hot enough to prove the case boiled over. So yeah, in the land of the free, you can get cuffed for gardening, fined for singing, and written up for giving away cookies. But now I want your story, the real one. What's the most ridiculous reason you or someone you know ever got in trouble for? Was it a driveway chalk scandal? A rogue tomato plant? A war on jam jars? Drop it in the comments. I want stuff so absurd it makes these look normal. And if you made it through this video without catching a citation yourself, congrats. You've officially earned a like, a sub, and maybe even a permit to keep watching. Go hit both before someone reports you for illegal levels of enjoyment.